So, what if I told you the secret to a perfect, longer-lasting pint of beer wasn't just about the hops or the yeast, but about, get this, nanotechnology? Yeah, today we're going to dive into this crazy intersection of an ancient craft and some really futuristic science.
At a glance, this jug looks pretty standard, right? But what's inside it is the real key here. See, it holds a special solution that brewers are now using to fight this invisible war that's happening inside every single brewery. So what exactly is this enemy they're fighting?
Okay, so to really get a handle on the solution, we first have to appreciate just how big the problem is. A brewery, for all the amazing beer it makes, is basically a battlefield. It's a constant fight against these tiny, microscopic invaders that can completely ruin an entire batch.
You gotta remember, beer isn't just some inert liquid. It's a delicate, living product. And that means from the very second that water enters the building to the moment a can gets sealed, it is under constant threat. We're talking about contamination that causes those funky off flavors, weird cloudiness, or, just straight up spoilage.
And this just perfectly shows you how widespread that risk is. It's not like there's one single weak point you can fix. No, it's literally everywhere. It's in the water, the brewing tanks, every single pipe and fitting, the yeast lines, the filters, the bottling line, even the kegs that get returned. Those are notorious for bringing back some, let's say, unwanted microbial hitchhikers into the brewery.
So the big question is, how do you protect against a threat that's coming from every direction? Well, the answer we're looking at today is a really high-tech take on a very old idea, a shield made of silver.
And what we're talking about here is something called colloidal silver. Now, put simply, it's just a liquid, usually water, with these teeny tiny particles of pure silver suspended in it. And these are not just, little silver filings floating around. They are nano-sized, incredibly small. And that size is the whole key to how they work.
Now, what's really interesting is how different this stuff is from the harsh chemicals you'd probably expect a brewery to use. There's no chlorine in it, no alcohol, none of those super aggressive oxidizers like peroxide or strong acids. And what that means is you can sanitize surfaces without worrying about leaving behind some nasty chemical residue that could totally mess with the beer's taste or even its safety.
And listen, this isn't just any old silver. This is some serious precision technology. We're talking about silver that's 99.99% pure, with particles that are engineered to be just about 15 nanometers in size. That kind of control is what makes it so effective. And on top of that, the solution stays stable and active for like 6 or 7 months. Okay, so that all sounds super impressive, right? But the real question is, does it actually work? Well, lucky for us, the source material had some pretty stunning visual evidence. Let's head over to the lab, so to speak, and check out the proof right there in the Petri dish.
And boom, here it is. This is the money shot for sure. On the left, you've got a Petri dish just swarming with bacteria after only 40 minutes. Now look at the right. That's the same kind of culture, but it was treated with the colloidal silver. After the exact same 40 minutes, it's totally clear. The difference is it's stark. And it works incredibly fast.
So yeah, the visual is super dramatic, but the numbers are just as definitive. Lab tests show it's not just good against one or two things, it wipes out all sorts of bacteria, E. coli, staph, and even really tough fungal stuff like candida. So what you're looking at is a truly broad-spectrum defense against pretty much anything that wants to ruin a good beer.
All right, so we know it's a killer in the lab, but how does a brewer actually put this stuff to use? Let's take a look at the actual battle plan for the brewery and see how this tech gets woven into the day-to-day work.
The strategy is what you'd call defense in depth. It's a multi-layered approach. So first, you're sanitizing all the physical equipment. We're talking tanks, pipes, all the tools. Second, you can actually treat the brewing water, which is amazing because you're protecting the beer's main ingredient right from the start. Third, you use it during the process, like on filters, to stop any cross-contamination in its tracks. And then finally, you secure the finished product by sanitizing the bottles, cans, and kegs just before you fill them up.
And this is where things get really next level. For the absolute ultimate protection and to really extend the shelf life, brewers can actually microdose this stuff directly into the finished beer. Now, obviously, this is a super precise, very carefully controlled step. It's something a brewer would only do after tons and tons of testing to make absolutely sure it has zero effect on the final taste and quality.
So what's the bottom line? What does this all add up to?
Well, it's not just about killing microbes, right? It's about making a better product more efficiently. And at the end of the day, that just means better beer and a whole lot less waste.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. What does this kind of high-tech solution cost?
Well, a 5-liter container of the concentrate runs about $1,850. And yeah, that might sound like a lot at first, but let's actually put that number into context.
And this quote really nails the economic argument. Think about it. If a brewery is doing, say, $200,000 in business a month, just preventing a tiny 1% loss from spoilage, that saves them $2,000. So the savings from just 1 month more than pay for that initial investment. It literally pays for itself.
So the end result here is really a win-win for everyone. The brewers lose less beer to spoilage, which saves them a ton of money. The beer you buy ends up having a longer, more stable shelf life. The quality from one batch to the next gets way more consistent. And, maybe best of all of this happens while letting the brewery rely less on all those harsh cleaning chemicals.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, brewing is this ancient craft with thousands of years of history built on tradition. But as we've seen here, the future of perfecting that craft, it might just be happening at the nanoscale. Pretty wild.